mini lecture, we'll look at Chapter 5 on planning and decision making. Here are the learning outcomes for this chapter. You may pause here to read them. We begin by talking about planning, which is choosing a goal and developing a strategy to help us achieve that goal. And there's sort of a basic outline that we follow as we're doing this, whether we even realize it or not. So we first have to set our goals. Once we've set our goals, it's important to get others within the organization to be committed to that and getting people to be committed to helping to achieve those goals at the various levels of the organization. Next, we develop effective action plans, looking at who's going to be in charge of what, how we're going to do things, when they need to be done by, etc. And then we are always tracking progress towards our goals, so we're evaluating whether we've achieved our goals. And throughout all of that, we need to be flexible because, as we know, in life things come up, and sometimes we need to move faster and sometimes we need to move slower. And then there's there is a feedback loop here where we look at what worked and maybe what didn't, and we revise or start a new planning process, and we go through the process again. So in order to have effective planning, we need to set SMART goals. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So for example, I have an example on the screen. My example is, I will earn a promotion to Senior Customer Service Representative by completing the required training modules in 3 months and applying for the role at the end of the next quarter. So it's specific in that the objective is to be promoted to Senior Customer Service Rep. It's measurable. It's measurable in many ways. We can measure whether we completed the training module, fill out the application, and whether or not the promotion was earned. It's obtainable because the person in this example is willing to complete trainings that are necessary to get that promotion. It's realistic because they're applying for a promotion after they finish their training modules, and it's time-based, or it's timely, in that this will be achieved, or the goal is to achieve it by the end of the next quarter. So in order to get people to commit to goals, we first have to set the goal. And one way that this can be done is to set goals participatively, so to get other people involved in the goals, to make the goal public, so everybody knows what the organization's goals are, and have support from top management. And so on the screen, I have an example of a screenshot from the University of Minnesota-Crookston Strategic Planning website, which shows our 3 goals. And then if you click on any of these links, it'll bring you to the action plan that lists the specific steps, people, resources, and time periods in which these goals need to be attained. All right. And so within this, we have both short-term and long-term goals. They call them proximal and distal. They're short-term and long-term. Short-term goals usually are less than 1 year. Long-term goals are longer than 1 year, usually 3 to 5 years. This is an example, if you would click on one of those links I was highlighting, of the action plan for one of the strategic goals at the University of Minnesota-Crookston. And you can see how it shows what the objective is, what activities are going to be taken, what metrics are being tracked, and who's responsible. So it's very easy to read in a quick manner. All right, so this right here, this graphic shows where strategic planning, or where planning happens and who does what plans. So at the top level, we have our overarching strategic planning, which lays out our vision, our mission, and our large overarching long-term goals. Middle managers create tactical plans and use management by objectives to help to achieve those larger, broader goals that are set out by top managers. And first-level managers use operational plans, standing plans, and single-use plans to help to achieve the goals that are set by middle managers, which help to achieve the goals of top managers. This graphic just looks at this from the top-down view, so you can see as you go out who does what. So like I said, top management is responsible for strategic plans, or the overall company plans of how companies will serve its customers and position itself against competitors in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They create the company's mission, vision, purpose statement, and create these very broad goals which unify the company, stretch and challenge the organization, and have a very definitive timeline. Middle management develops and carries out tactical plans which help to accomplish those strategic objectives that are set by top management. Tactical plans are created and implemented by middle managers that really direct behaviors, efforts, and attentions within the next 6 months to a year to 2 years. So they're looking at kind of like not short term and not long term. All right. And they can use management by objectives where they discuss their goals with employees, they collectively select goals, create the tactical plans, and meet regularly to review progress towards those goals. And then lower level managers or first line managers develop and carry out operational plans, which are our day-to-day plans that are developed by lower managers for producing and delivering products and services over a 30-day to 6-month, maybe 1-year period. Really those very short-term goals. And so they have single-use plans that cover unique one-time only events. So maybe if you're a grocery store, you have a truckload sale coming up. That's a unique event. Or standing plans, things that occur regularly, those policies and those regular activities that need to be done. So let's say if you've ever worked in a retail environment, there will be standing plans on how the retail establishment needs to be closed at the end of the day. So how to handle the money, what things need to be picked up, cleaned, organized, how to lock up, etc. And then the lower level managers also work with budget. When we're making plans and we're planning, we have to make a variety of decisions. So it's really choosing the best alternative. And one way you can do this is through rational decision making, and there's a video on Canvas that you can watch. And this is just a system for how do we define goals, how do we evaluate those alternatives, and then how do we choose the optimal solution. Obviously, we want to make the best decisions possible, but we don't work in a perfect world, and we have constraints. And we have managers have to deal with these constraints, such as attention, memory, and expertise problems, which can make it difficult to maximize decisions. And so what we're trying to do is when we say we're maximizing, we're trying to choose the best alternative. But every once in a while, we use something called satisficing, where we just have to find the good enough example. And so, for example, if I'm evaluating how to increase my profits, I'm probably going to use rational decision making and really evaluate all possible alternatives. However, if I'm just deciding what the best pen to buy for the office is, I'm probably just going to buy the pen, the office supply that is good enough. That's not something where you really need to use rational decision making. We also have to make decisions in groups. I'm sure all of you have had to make decisions in groups in some way, shape, or form. Advantages are that in general, groups perform better than an individual when it comes to defining a problem and generating a solution. Some barriers are groupthink, where people start to all kind of agree with each other and agree on the same answer, whether it's the right one or not. Anytime you're working in a group, it's going to take more time. And some people, as you know, dominate discussions, and so that can be a disadvantage when you're trying to make a decision as a group. There also is conflict when we're making decisions as a group. C-type conflict or cognitive conflict is a disagreement that is really based on is based on the issue at hand. So the individuals don't agree on how to solve the specific organizational problem, but they're willing to examine, compare, and try to come up with the best option. Whereas A-type conflict or effective conflict is really a disagreement that focuses on individuals' personal issues. Maybe they just don't get along. And this results in hostility, anger, distrust, and really is not very good for team effectiveness. And there's some ways to overcome conflict. I have an example here, but there's the nominal group technique, is a decision-making method that begins and ends by having group members quietly write down and evaluate ideas. And so what we're doing is we're all writing down our ideas. In this situation, you would write down your ideas, they would get shared, and then there'd be a discussion. So hopefully that would eliminate some conflict. The Delphi technique is a method where members of a panel or experts will answer questions until an agreement is reached. And then you can also use electronic brainstorming, where members use electronics to generate ideas. Actually, as you know, brainstorming can also be done in person or it can be done in an electronic manner. And so that is a quick overview of Chapter 5. If you have any questions, please contact me. Thank you.